So here's the big question. How are entrepreneurs like us, who have been hustling and struggling to make it to success, who seem to make it one step forward only to fall two steps back, who are dedicated, determined, and driven, how do we finally break through and win? That is the question, and this podcast will give you the answers. My name is Brian Kelly, and this is the Mind, Body, Business Show. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Mind, Body, Business Show. I have another phenomenal guest on with me here tonight. He's become a dear friend of mine. We met probably around 8, 9, maybe 10 years ago. It's been a while. And you could just tell that this guy oozes integrity, knowledge, experience, and he loves helping people. And that's why he's on this show, because he has that level of success and the willingness to help people. That's what we do here on the Mind Body Business Show. It's a show for entrepreneurs, by entrepreneurs. And our mission and purpose is to provide you with those tips, those secrets that other successful entrepreneurs have utilized successfully to really elevate their level of success in such a way that you can simply take notes and then after the show is over, go put those into action and model them. And that way you can achieve success much quicker than trial and error, doing it all on your own. Look, we're all very brilliant people. You are very brilliant and you could do it all on your own. But why? It will just take much, much longer. Why not just follow the lead of someone like Gary Howarth, who's coming on here in just a moment. He's in the wings waiting. He's scratching at the screen, at the monitor, the camera. Let me in. He's coming on really, really soon. So that's what it's about. And it's about what I call the 3 pillars of success. Over the past, it's been over 10 years now, I started studying only successful people. And what I realized in that time was they always had these 3 common traits that kept bubbling to the top. And you might guess what those are. They're the very name of this show. Mind being mindset, which means that each person that I studied to a person had a very powerful, positive, but the most important part was flexible mindset. And then body. They all, to a person, took care of themselves physically and nutritionally. And then there's business, which is multifaceted. And what is that? It's these successful individuals had mastered the skill sets that are necessary to build a thriving, successful business. Skill sets like marketing, team building, systematizing, leadership, sales, big one. The list goes on and on. And the thing is, to master anyone's skill set, being an astute person as you are, you know that can take a considerable amount of time. Just like to become an expert in any one thing, I forget if the right number is 10,000 hours. It takes a long time. But the good news is you don't have to master yourself, every single skill set, in order to be successful. In fact, if you concentrate on one in the beginning, one skill set, then you can leverage the others. And that one skill set is leadership. And even if you don't have a team currently, you can still ingrain great leadership skills in yourself by leading yourself as if you would lead an individual who's on your team. So the Mind Body Business Show is all about successful people showing you the shortcuts to success in an integrity-based manner. And speaking of shortcuts to success, another great attribute I noticed of all of these individuals, again, to a person, was they were all also very avid readers of books. And with that, very quickly, I want to segue into a short segment that I affectionately call Bookmarks.
Bookmarks. Born to read. Bookmarks. Ready, steady, read. Bookmarks. Brought to you by reachyourpeaklibrary.com.
Yes, and I promise Gary Howarth is coming on just moments from now. Stick with us. Reachyourpeaklibrary.com. Before I go into that, and it's going to be very brief, I promise. Real quick word of, I just call it advice, a suggestion, is rather than succumb to that desire to go click away or to go type it into a browser window and look it up as these resources come to you, because I know Gary has many as well. Rather than do that, I implore of you to instead write them down, type them on a notepad, write them on a physical piece of paper, and then visit them after the show is over, because The reason is the magic, I always say this from stage, the magic happens in the room. And what does that mean? That means if you were to even just take your attention away from Gary for just one moment, and he then delivers that golden nugget that could have changed your life forever, but you were off looking at another resource that one of us had given you, and you missed it. Well, I'd really hate for that to happen. I take notes during this show, and I'm running the whole doggone thing. So I don't ever ask anybody to do something I myself am not willing, or I do as well. So that's just my soapbox moment. ReachYourPeakLibrary.com. What is that? That's a resource that I had developed with you in mind. And I know it sounds a little cheesy, but I'm honest. I'm completely honest about it. What it is, it's a collection of books that I personally vet, that I have read. And here's the thing. I did not start reading voraciously till the age of 47. I'm 57 at the time of this show. So only 10 years of reading. And in that time, I got through a lot of books. I used Audible. That was the secret ingredient for me personally. I did not like reading physical books. I love listening to them. I didn't even know that for a long time. And you see them scrolling on the screen here if you're watching this on live video. And by the way, go to themindbodybusinessshow.com and just find any button on there as you scroll down, click it, and then you can register to be notified the moment we go live next time, so you can interact with us. You can comment. We'll bring them up on the screen, give you some added exposure as well. So we invite you to do that. We love interaction. We love questions. We love comments. So Reach Your Peak Library, it's there for you. It's not intended for making money for us. Every button there goes to Amazon. If you see a book you like, go buy it anywhere you want. Your bookstore of choice, online, offline. It's just here to give you a resource to say, well, at least one other successful entrepreneur vetted it. So my odds of not wasting my time are greatly increased by doing that. That is it. That is reachyourpeaklibrary.com. My gift to you, and I hope you do take us up on that. Write it down. Go back to it after the show and enjoy it. Speaking of enjoying things, guess what time it is? You guessed it. It is time for the one, the only Gary Howarth. Let's get him on here. Here we go.
It's time for the Guest Expert Spotlight. Savvy, skillful, professional, adept, trained, big league, qualified.
Oh, and he's not here yet because we had a little. There he is.
Oh,
the one, the only.
how about that?
Gary Howarth, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the show, Mr. Howarth. How are you doing, my buddy, my pal?
I'm doing fantastic, Brian. Beautiful day.
Yes, and you are in the Las Vegas area, if I recall.
Correct. Yeah. In fact, today is our first day of triple digits. So summer is here.
Ouch, with a vengeance, huh?
Yeah.
Ay. So, real quick before we dive in, I'm going to introduce you properly and formally. Before we do that, I wanted to point everybody's gaze to the Big Insider Secrets, that red and white logo above Gary's left shoulder. It's on the right of the screen if you're watching. And what they have done is they have sponsored this show and enabled us to give away every single show a 5-night stay at a 5-star luxury resort. All you have to do is stay on to the end. You must be watching live, and we will give you the information to enter to win. You don't want to miss that. So stick around to the end. In a couple more, we're doing a little bit of housekeeping here, and we'll bring Gary back really, really quick. I promise you. And we have this one. Yes, that's the right one. If you're struggling with putting a live show together and it's overwhelming, and you want a lot of the processes done for you while still enabling you to put on a high quality show and to connect with great people like Gary Howarth and grow your business all at the same time, then head on over to carpetbombmarketing.com. Carpet Bomb Marketing, saturate the marketplace with your message. And one of the key components that is contained in the Carpet Bomb Marketing courses is one that you'll learn how to absolutely master. It is the very service we use to stream our show right here, right now on the Mind Body Business Show. And we've used many of these quote unquote TV studio solutions over the years. It's been 10 years or so. And in all this time, StreamYard has just really excelled. It is the best of the best. There's really nothing that can compare to it with everything that it gives. And so you can stream live for free and give it a whirl. So write down this URL. It's ryp.im/. ryp.im/stream live, all one word for that, ryp.im/stream live. Write that down. And let's bring back the man, the myth, the legend himself. You know who that is. It's Gary Howarth. He's in the house. So let's bring him on with a formal introduction that he richly deserves. And you're going to love this, because Gary has been selling and marketing technical products for over 30 years with several international organizations, including Union Carbide, Praxair, Bykowski International, and AIM MRO. He was responsible for sales in North America, Asia, Europe, and South America. You guys getting this? He's been around. He knows what he does. He earned an undergraduate degree in chemical and materials engineering from California Polytechnic University, Pomona, and an MBA from Pepperdine University. So in other words, this guy is smart, ladies and gentlemen, very, very intelligent. And I'm not kidding around with that he's very, very intelligent. And so you definitely want to listen to him throughout this broadcast here tonight. In addition to technical sales, Gary is a serial entrepreneur. He started several companies, including a trash can cleaning service. I didn't even know about that one. A lawnmower blade coating business, and Record It cards. That's the one I believe I remember. And online video greeting card business. That's what that was. And a video marketing business called Vaxis Hub. Vaxis Hub provided a platform for sending professional video emails for that personal touch with prospects and clients. And currently he has a program called the Pipeline Filler Program, and businesses hire him to ignite a profitable sales pipeline because most sales reps hate to prospect, are fearful, and lack a system. That is so true. So he helps to optimize time, confidence, and prospecting tools with a proven system. I'm going to cut it short there. There's more to go, but we got to have a chat with Mr. Gary Howarth. So with that, welcome officially, formally to the show, Mr. Gary Howarth. How are you doing tonight, my brother?
I'm doing great. I'm happy to be here, Brian.
Man, it's exciting. I love getting to interview not only just friends, but successful friends and very intelligent friends who have been through the gauntlet, which you have. My gosh,
we've had a few times.
Yeah. And I remember when I first met you, you had just lost your beloved, your wonderful wife, and it was a tough time for you. Yeah. And one thing that always rung true with me was your attitude through it all. It was very impressive, and it wasn't false. It was real. It was authentic. And you're an amazing man, Gary. I just want to tell you that off the bat, that you really impressed me as a human being, as a man, as a person, more than anything else. And then now to learn after that how incredibly talented you are. I was like, this dude, man, God, if I wasn't married to a woman right now, I might be going after Mr. No, I'm just kidding. So we like to have fun too. We talk like this literally when we meet, or at least I do. Gary's too nice for that. So to open it up, Gary, I'm going to ask you a good question, because I love this, because my humble opinion, the Mind Body Business Show, so mind, that is, in my humble opinion, is where all of us formulate whether we're going to be successful or not. Right. And for you, when you get up in the morning, every day is not the same. Some days are arduous, some days are great, but there are those arduous tasks, and sometimes there are setbacks. A lot of times there are setbacks. So what is going on in your big, beautiful brain when you wake up in the morning, you get up and you're just going to drive and power through whatever it is that comes in front of you that day? What's happening inside the mind of Gary Howarth that keeps you going every single day?
Yep, I am just grateful to have another day. In fact, it really reminds me of a story. Back in the 90s, I was working as a salaried sales rep for a chemical company. And I took their product, one from 250,000 to 15 million in 2 years. And they gave me a $2,000 bonus check. I said, screw that. I went to go work for somebody else. Well, 6 months later, I was out in Oregon on vacation with my wife, chopping some wood. We were going to have a romantic dinner and fire. And I was just feeling terrible, very nauseous. And this has been happening off and on for 6 months, or for a while. And she looked at me and said, Gary, you're going to go to the ER. You look terrible. And I'm not going anywhere else with you until you go to the doctor. Well, 1 week later, I'm being rolled out on a gurney into an operating room. and they don't know exactly what's going on, but until they get inside. And my wife said, Terry, don't you die on me. We have a lot of living to do. Well, when I woke up, I had a 6-inch or an 8-inch scar or opening here on my chest. I had 3 tubes coming out of my stomach, IVs and monitors all over the place. And I wake up and I see my wife, my mom, and my dad looking at me with concerned looks on their faces. And the doctor came in and he said, well, Gary, your heart was encased in stone. It's like I had to take a hammer and chisel to take it off. In fact, you died on the table before we were even able to get my hands in there. And as soon as we administered the anesthetic, you were done. And fortunately, they brought me back and he said, we got done what we needed to do. And I'm going, oh, great. Well, when can I get back to work? That was my first thought. And he said, oh, no, that's not going to happen. You're in for about 6 months of recovery and, no flying, no driving, none of that. And I'm thinking, well, what am I going to do with my clients, all the appointments I have scheduled, the trips I have planned? And he said, they're just going to have to get by without you for 6 months. And I'm going, man, I need to make some changes. So what I did is I really changed my philosophy for how to sell. And what I did is I got up, I focused a lot more on key clients and prospects that made sense. I made sure that I was talking to the people where it would make a difference. And I also focused on the personal life. And so really put it all together in a way that was more effective. And at that time, I'd been trying to get IBM as a client. And when I got back to work with my new approach, within 2 months, I landed them. So, you don't have to be a type A personality to be successful. And what I remember is my next trip was to the French Alps. I invited my wife to go with me. She was thrilled. We had a great time. And basically, when I work with companies, or my mindset is that, you have to focus, you have to change the way you do things and try to get it done before it's too late. Because for me, it was almost too late. And your company, you may not think you're sick like I was, but sometimes things are hidden and you really need to take a different approach. So I just want to help people not go through the same type of thing that I went through.
Yeah, no kidding. And hallelujah that you are still with us. Thank God.
No kidding.
I mean, what causes a stone-like encasement around one's heart? I've never heard of this before.
Yeah, it's there's a sac around your heart called the pericardium that's supposed to cushion your heart from impact. Well, for some reason, mine calcified. And it happens to maybe 300 people in the U.S. every year. So it's really a rare thing. And I was one of the lucky ones.
Well, and the great fact is it's over with now. And so It happened. There's nothing we can do to change that. And I know you're the type that goes, well, but look what I learned from it. You just explained it, that you changed how you went about things. So if you were to encapsulate, so you said type A, you don't have to be type A to be successful in business. What changed in your mindset specifically as you went about sales that helped you to land IBM, whereas before you struggled so mightily? I mean, if you can get kind of specific with that.
Sure. One of the things is I focused on them and left a lot of the other things that was sucking a lot of my time and pushed that to the side. It's like the old Pareto principle, the 80-20 rule that we all know. And I decided I need to focus on that 20%, not the 80. And that's really when everything turned around. And so it didn't require as much time. And I was able to spend time with family and improve that relationship. And it just really, the whole experience improved my life.
Isn't that amazing? And that's what I love. And man, I didn't know this of you, Gary. I'd never heard that story before. I appreciate you for sharing that, because you just said it's one of the best things that ever happened to you, which nobody would want that to happen.
Well, no, I mean, you don't want to die to have to realize that, life is short, and, you need to take care of all the important things. And that's really the key.
And it's interesting, because many folks I've interviewed on this show have gone through something in their life, including yours truly. We've all, if you've lived any while on this planet, odds are you've been through something that was either close to life-threatening or just something that was so traumatic that you'll never forget it, but it changed your life. And the cool thing is, every one of us, and I'm going to ask you, see if you agree with this, Gary, every one of us has a choice. You can either choose to react to something and say, woe is me. Oh, I guess I'm behind the black spade, the black card, whatever that thing is. I'm behind and it's just, I guess I was just destined to have horrible luck. Or we can decide to say, you know what, that sucked, but I could learn from it, and I could pull up my pants or my whatever I'm wearing. And if you're a female, and I can just look at that, learn from it, move forward using what I learned from it. So I know not to either not do it again if it was a mistake, or in your case, just it kind of like smacked you awake and said, now focus, Gary, there are more important things in life. Would you agree with that whole synopsis?
Absolutely. And for me, the experience was like being hit on the head with a 2x4, and I needed it at the time, because at that time I was traveling 50-60% of the time. And when I wasn't traveling, I was, at home working 12-14-hour days and, not paying attention to all the important stuff. So, yeah.
It's so easy. And it happened to me once as well. And it almost caused my marriage to dissolve. And it was all on me, fully at cause. And thank God my wife felt enough to sit down and have a chat with me. That meant she cared enough to at least, let's see if we can make this work out. And it was all stupidity on my part, 100%. And, it's funny. It's like, I'll never do that again. And then I start to feel myself going down that path again. The cool thing is that always comes back. And I so value our relationships. Like, no. And she'll give me hints too at times. I'm like, you know what? Thank you. You're right. I'm going to dial it back again. It's an interesting thing, because as entrepreneurs, we get so involved and we love so much what we get to do. Oftentimes we just lose track of how much time we're spending on it, instead of those other things that are the reason we're doing all of this is for spending time with our loved ones. And we miss that. Does that ever happen to you, Gary?
Well, once or twice. It's happening again. I'm having to relive this again, because I have a new girlfriend now, and it's balancing the amount of time that I spend with her and the amount of time I need to spend on the business. And, I just have a better perspective today than I did, 25 years ago.
And that's what I want to talk about with the audience and say, look, this is a man of great wisdom. He's lived life. He's been through a lot of experiences, not all good, but he's learned from those that weren't good. He's probably, I'm sure you've learned from the good ones as well, to say, well, more of that, please, and to amplify and do more in that area. And help you with your relationships going forward. So I just so appreciate you, your attitude, because again, that's why I always say the mind, that's the foundation of one's either success or lack thereof. And it doesn't mean it's going to be something you develop overnight. I grew up a very negative individual, if you can imagine that, Gary. I was quite negative. I would go to the negative side first. It took me all of my college years to break that mold. The best part was I got out of the house where I was living. It wasn't a bad environment. I wasn't abused, nothing like that. It was I had a great childhood. I love my parents. It just wasn't the most positive when it came to mindset. Only mindset. Everything else was fine. And it took me years to break that mold. And then I learned NLP, which you're familiar with as well. And that was a life changer. That changed everything. I mean, that was like unbelievable. I'm a Christian, so I've been born again, but this was like born again in physical form, kind of. It's weird. I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah, it was like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it changed my outlook on life, much like you going through this issue with your heart. It kind of snaps you awake, and it's a good thing. So, yes, talked about books, the importance of reading those in the beginning. Would you call yourself an avid reader of books? And if so, maybe are you reading one now, or do you have one that's at the top of your list that you like to recommend? Either way.
Well, I am reading one now. It's called the Microscript Rules. Get it over here. By Bill Schley. And basically, it's how to tell your story in what some people would consider a tagline or a soundbite that really explains what you're doing into something that people will repeat. You know, one of the things that they talk about in the book is the most important way to communicate and get a message out has really been around for over 50,000 years. And that is word of mouth. And what one people is going to say another or to another, like the old Timex thing, watch. It takes a licking and keeps on ticking. It's memorable, right? And so finding ways to create those for your own business, I think, is a good thing.
Absolutely. Yeah. And reading books, goodness sakes, what is going on with my system here tonight? There we go. Reading books is such an important part of everything we do. I learned that at a late age, as I said earlier on the show. It was just an odd occurrence that it took me that long to finally figure out a way that I could read and not just, it was almost painful to read. Not quite, but it was. But it's so important. I mean, what do you feel about that? Is I began reading voraciously about 10 years ago, and I just realized, my gosh, I'm reading the right books because I had a mentor that kind of guided me in this right direction. I followed and read what that person read, and I noticed I started seeing results, different attitudes, all sorts of wonderful things. Do you find the importance of reading books either really high or medium? I mean, where is it on your scale of importance when it comes to successful business?
It's really high. You know, I read every day. If I only have 10, 15 minutes, then that's what I do. But I like to read more. I like to read, well, some people say it's boring, but I love business books. And one of the ones that really had the most impact on me, because I know you were curious about that, is also on your library list. And that's the Ultimate Sales Machine by Chet Holmes. And that just resonated with me so much. As a matter of fact, as part of my new program, in how you focus and target who you want to do business with.
Fantastic. And that it is important reading books. And it's funny that something I never did, like I said, and what an eye opener, another one of those, holy smokes. And I mean, it's so expensive too, right, Gary, to read books,
Oh, it's not. Yeah, no, I think cable's more, but
yeah, that's
but
the other beautiful thing.
But you get so much from it, Brian. I mean, it takes you places, gets you knowledge that you don't find otherwise. And I listen to Audible books, but I really like, excuse me, I really like reading and holding a physical book. And the reason why is it's easy to write notes, to go back to it, to read it over again. And sometimes you want to ingrain, what's in the books in yourself. And so it's good to read them more than once,
Ooh, so you've read a book more than once?
Shockingly, yes.
So I love one of my favorite questions. So when you read a book for, let's say, the second time, did you get the same exact result from it?
No. Yeah.
Okay. I got it. Hold on. We got a visual aid for this.
Oh, good.
All right. Let's say this is the book I'm holding up. You've Got to Be Hungry by Les Brown. But just as a sake of argument, let's say this is that book that you read once and then the second time. So you're telling me it was different the second time, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I want to ask you this. Be honest. Were any of the pages like torn out, missing? Just you redacted them so much you can't read them? Was something different inside the book, the words?
No, the words are just the same.
So
Just
what
the
was
same.
different?
Me.
Ah,
I mean, at the time, look, we all have experiences. We all go through different stuff at different times of our lives. And it makes, sometimes it can be relevant at that time, or it wasn't relevant then. You pick it up again and it's like, wow, that's what I needed. And I don't know how to explain this, but I have a decent sized library. And sometimes I'll look at it, go, what do I want to read? And I get drawn to a particular book. I don't know why, but I'm drawn to it. And I pick it up, I start reading it and go, man, this is exactly what I need. It's weird because it's happened many times, not just once. And
yeah. Oh, he just reminded me. It's like going to church and the pastor's doing his sermon, and you're like, how did he know? He's talking right through me. He knows it's me. I'm looking around like, how does he know I'm going through this? This is crazy.
Yeah, exactly.
I love those moments. And I was laughing because same thing with books. You're so right. It's like, my God, this is like the perfect timing to read this book. I have no idea why. It's because you're at that level where you're ready for the message that you needed to hear.
Yeah.
There's one book I've read, and it's an audio form as well, The Big Boom. And that's by my mentor, Mel Cutler. And I read it and listened to it multiple times. I mean, I lost count. The reason is because I used to teach his students from his stage, and that was my seminar, quote unquote, Bible, to be able to model what Mel would say, because he recorded everything. And I got to tell you, same thing, Gary, no matter how many times, it was a lot of, it had to be close to 100 that I listened to this thing over and over and over. Every single time I got something new from it. And I'm like, where was that? It's unbelievable. So there's one key phrase I would like everyone out there to just ingrain in their memory. And that is repetition is the key to mastery. So many times, I'm the perfect example, ego, where it's like, oh, I've heard this before. I know all that. I don't need to listen to this. And I'll shut off my brain and miss what could have been another great aha moment, just based on what Gary is describing right now is repetition. Read something more than once, go to seminars more than once. If something resonated with you, if you like that person, their message, go to it again and you'll go, what the heck was that there last time? It's awesome. And you just learn something more every time. So don't be snared into that net of, oh, I know that, and just forget and turn off and start doing other things. Always be listening, always be learning. Gosh, I'm preaching a lot tonight.
I'm inspiring you, I guess. I don't know.
You have, in all seriousness, you have, especially that opening story that I knew. I knew you as a remarkable man with everything that went on with your wife and your reaction to that. And now that happened before that, like, geez. So kudos to you for being a great example to others. You want to leave a good legacy, and you're doing that. I want you to know that. From my humble opinion. And we've met in person several times. You came all the way out here. We broke bread, had lunch. So I just want to tell this for everybody else to see that this is a real bona fide, authentic gentleman, integrity-based, great character. And he is a sales expert. And that's what I want to start digging into right now, because this is the one I was just talking about this with two other very high esteemed colleagues of mine, Gary, earlier today. And we were talking about coaches, the coaching industry. And the number one, so coaches are phenomenal at coaching what they know how to coach. They're phenomenal at giving the product, at getting the result. What they all really, really are horrible about, I shouldn't say all, but a majority, 80, 90%, is getting those people into their business to begin with. Sales, they stink. And so they need someone like you to do a mind meld and say, this is how you do sales. So if you were to, and this might be tough, but if you could encapsulate maybe 3 main points that make you successful in sales and others that you have learned over the course of a period, maybe 3 things that make you successful, and also sprinkle in things that you should never do that will completely keep you from making a sale. and I know I'm just throwing this out there and blindsiding you with this, but I know you have the answer. If you can think of 3 of them, please help everyone watching and listening, and let us know those secrets.
Well, there are 3 main things, especially when it comes to sales and growing your business. There's something that's really the foundation of all sales, the foundation of all businesses. Without this, you don't have a business. And basically, that is prospecting. You must prospect, because actually prospecting, it captures your future.
Ooh.
Prospecting captures your future. And without that, you're not talking to anybody. You're not getting exposed. You're not getting your word out there. And you're just hurting yourself. All the other aspects of sales training, people talk about closing and setting appointments and, how do you handle objections and all that? Well, the thing is, you never get to any of that if you don't prospect, if you don't bring people in, if you don't have a message that you want to give to people. And so prospecting is key. And one of the main parts of that is really targeting, knowing who is your ideal client. Once you know who your ideal client is, then you can formulate your story in what you do to help support them. And if you don't know exactly who they are, it's like we can't be everything to everybody. Mm-hmm. We'd like to think we are and go, but everybody needs my stuff. Well, maybe. But, just start with a little niche and you'll be much better off. And then, so the second thing is follow-up. Follow-up is huge. In enough salespeople just really don't do enough of it. Most of them quit after maybe 2 contacts with potential clients, but it's been proven many times over that it takes 5 to 7 touches before clients buy. And for 80% of the sales that are made requires a minimum of 5 to 7. And even there was a new report by Microsoft out there that says, because we're so inundated with messages nowadays from all the social media and emails and text and billboards and whatever, that number is now 13 touches. So most people give up after a couple and they wonder why they're not successful. You just have to stay in touch. You have to add value in those touches too. So that's the key thing. And then the third, really, I'm going to combine 2 things in the third. One is persistence, which is part of the, follow-up. And the other one is consistency. You have to do it every day. And without exception, you need to make time for it, because when you do, good things happen. When you don't, sales fluctuate, especially for entrepreneurs. You're desperate. You don't have any clients. And so then you work hard marketing, talking to people, you get it. Oh, wow, I got a client. And now you're working on that and you forget all about prospecting. And then when that client goes away, I got to find some business. And you're constantly going like this, right? And that's no way to have consistent sales. Unless you prospect every day, you're not going to be successful.
Ladies and gentlemen, you just got Sales 101 training from the great Gary Howarth. Yes, he's dropping smart bombs of wisdom, knowledge bombs. And I'm not kidding. My goodness, that was worth a good deal of money as a training module right there. He's talked about the 3 key areas: prospecting, follow-up, persistence, and consistency. I wanted to ask you on the prospecting part of it. What is or are your go-to method or methods for reaching out to people? How do you target people? What tools or what approaches are you using that you find are successful?
Well, the first thing you have to do is to figure out who your target market is. So for me, I'm looking at small businesses anywhere from, say, $5 to $50 million in sales that have sales teams that need to be trained. And I train them specifically just on the prospecting and follow-up. We can talk about other aspects of sales, but it's important to get that right. Because if you get that right, everything else just flows, right? And so that is a target for me. My experience in the manufacturing business, so I look at those types of companies. I've also done some individual work, but that's not my main target. I utilize LinkedIn Navigator, to help find some new clients to get research on them. That's very huge. But another main touch with prospecting is there's so many different ways to touch people and to get it done. And with your carpet bombing experience that you had there, which is great, you need to do that with your prospecting. So when you're going to do something all at the same time, send them a direct message on LinkedIn or Facebook, send them an email, and call them on the phone, leave a voicemail message, and do all three of those, get it done within 2 minutes. And then they're seeing you everywhere and they're thinking, boy, I better respond to this person. It works. So, that is really the key. And I'm calling the business Connect by Voice, because honestly, the most important part is using this. The phone is your best friend. It's the main tool because you need to connect with the other person. All the other stuff is fluff. You need the phone to connect with them, to schedule a time to get face to face. And that's when the magic happens.
I love it. And I put up a website that is coming soon. It's called connectbyvoice.com. It's in the works, but just write that down, everyone watching and listening. And by the time you hear this on podcast, when it drops later, it might be up and running. And another great website that you can go to that's also under construction, but it's almost there. It's GaryHowarth.com. And so I'm going to put his name back up on the screen so you can all see it, because it's not Howard. No. It is not that. It is Gary Howarth. There it is. I'll put it up bigger now. HOWARTH. So GaryHowarth.com. So you definitely want to check that out. And those websites are coming very, very soon. So just note those down. And I'm giving everything away right now here, Gary. So if you want to also connect with them before that time, because those websites aren't ready, he just mentioned it, LinkedIn. So you can go to linkedin.com/in/Gary Howarth 2022. Yes, the current year at the time of recording this. So linkedin.com/in/Gary Howarth 2022, and connect with them, direct message them. I'm telling you, Gary, do you do work one-on-one with clients at all? If they were to approach you and say, would you train me on how to sell more effectively? Do you do that at all?
Yes. Yeah, I definitely would. Okay. We would have a conversation to see what their needs are. And if we decide mutually we could help each other, it's always a no pressure thing. There has to be a fit. And
I love it.
If there is, then we can proceed. Yeah.
I have the same exact philosophy. Is it okay if I put up your account link?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And before I put this up, I just want to implore folks that, Gary is a pro. He's really good at what he does. He's busy. He's building his websites and got a whole new venture that he's been working on for some time. So it's not really new. It's just not completely, fully every piece of it put together right now. But what he does know is sales. And all I want to ask of you is, if you first of all, I want to say, take this down when I put it up on the screen and take action. And second, when you do that, please be absolutely respectful of Gary's time. If you schedule a time on his online calendar, show up. Do everything you can. You committed. I just had a no-show today. I had contractors that were supposed to show up. I was not happy because I'm scheduling my entire day out. I have a tight schedule, and I let them know I'm not happy. I'm not a big fan of giving negative reviews. I'm going to give them one more chance. They don't know that yet, but don't do that to Gary. Be respectful of him. You can tell. Look at him. Listen to him. The guy is a gem. He's not going to hard sell you. He's going to make sure you're a mutual fit, and then you take that to the next level. So with that, here is the link. It's calendly.com/connect by voice. I wonder where that came from. /30min, MIN. So calendly.com/connect by voice /30min. Make sure, just to be certain, all characters are lowercase. Everything after the .com, it matters, upper or lowercase. So make it all lowercase, connect by voice /30min, and reach out and schedule a call and then show up and just say, hey, I want some help with sales, whatever it is you want to connect with them. Maybe you are an individual that's in a business that he just described. And you say, wow, my sales force could use some training by this guy. Then connect with him, call him, reach out. What did Gary just tell everybody was one of the most prized tools, possessions we all have. It's our phone. So that's why the Calendly is the perfect place to go to talk to Gary. So start exercising those vocal cords right now and get that going. This was a master train. This was like a master class in sales already. And how much did Gary? He charged me like, $2,000 to be on my show to share this. I'm kidding. He charged me nothing. It's worth far more though. So treat it that way. Write these. Hope you're taking notes. Look, I got my notes. There's the 3 steps.
There you go.
I am not going to miss this gold ever, for sure. Oh, man. That was my favorite part of the show. So we're done. I'll just let you talk the rest of the time now.
Oh.
Yes.
Well, you see. No.
So, okay. Here's a good one.
Yeah.
As we go along this journey called life, and then we're doing it through business, trying to make our business work. If you were to look back over all the years and you can pick out one thing that you did that you knew immediately afterward or somewhat afterwards, like, dang, I blew that one, but you learned the most from it. If you can think of one, I don't know if we call it mistake, setback, whatever you want to call it, what would that be? And what did you learn from it?
Oh, yeah, this is kind of a big one. I was working for one of the companies you listed. It was AIM MRO. And just as an independent sales rep, I wasn't an actual employee. But I introduced them to a new product line and industry that they weren't involved in. And we ended up selling millions of dollars of this stuff. And what happened is I got comfortable. I stopped prospecting. I kind of let this thing roll. And then, of course, as everything does, it died. And if I had continued to prospect, find different customers, other outlets for the material, and that, we'd still be doing business today. But so you can go from everything and it's comfortable and you're successful. And that is the scariest time, really, because it's then you get lethargic. You stop doing what got you there. I stopped doing what got me there, and it bit me in the butt. And so that's why I'm so up on prospecting and want to really teach and train people and how to do it and the importance of it, how to be successful, and have consistent sales, because I've lived it, the good and the bad. And the bad doesn't feel too good.
Is that saying always be learning? What you just said is always be hustling.
Exactly. Even if you think, oh, I got it, I'm good, well, that will be short-lived.
So it sounds to me like what you described with those 3 main keys to successful sales: prospecting, follow-up, being consistent and persistent. Would you call those like the fundamentals of successful sales?
I would actually. In fact, I wrote a book.
What?
Talk about books, but it's the foundation. Let me say, foundation for growing sales, prospecting, and follow-up. How to consistently be the best. And I co-wrote this with Eric Lofholm.
Yes.
But yeah, those two things, they are the foundation for growing sales, without a doubt.
Man, you've been keeping secrets from me, brother. I didn't know you even had that book.
Oh, really? Oh, man. Yeah, we got to talk more.
I need a copy of that. And yeah, that was Eric Lofholm. That's not a small name. So congrats on that. My gosh, how long ago did that come out?
About 3 years ago.
Wow. Right before all the mayhem. I love it.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Is it on Audible by chance yet?
It is not on Audible, but it is available on Amazon.
Okay.
Just look up my name and it's right there.
Yeah. You got a unique last name, so I'm sure that will help a lot.
Yeah.
But definitely, man, I'm actually excited for you, happy for you. And every time I hear something else, I'm like, geez, another surprise. This is awesome. I'm like, it's Christmas. I'm a kid opening gifts at Christmas. This is awesome. And they're all called Gary Howarth. He's just, it's just a blazer. That's his rapping. It's awesome. So, oh my goodness. So you've learned a lot. Now to kind of take a step back, take a breath. What does Gary, the person, the fun-loving guy, what do you love to do to just like chill out and either chill out or relax, or maybe you're into extreme scary things? I mean, I'm finding out so many different things about you today. It could be maybe you like skydiving, shark hunting, whatever that might be. But what is it for you that you enjoy just to chill out, to hit the reset button and take a step away for a little bit?
My favorite thing to do is to go sailing. I love to sail. And now living here in Las Vegas, it doesn't happen anywhere near as frequently as I would like. But no, that's my Zen place. It's there's just nothing like it. And for me, the wind, ruffling the sails, and you can go anywhere, and you don't have the sound of the motor disturbing you, and just hear the waves, water lapping against the hull, and then seeing the wildlife, the dolphins, the whales, whatever else is out there, sea lions. It's just awesome. So I like doing that. I like hiking. There's a lot of really good hiking here in Red Rock Canyon National Conservancy. And that's it. I love watching basketball on TV. That's kind of my weakness.
I got to ask you, who's your team?
Oh, well, it has to be the Lakers, of course. The very first game I went to, I think I was 8 years old. And Jerry West, Elgin Baylor, Will Chamberlain, Gail Goodrich, Happy Harrison were all playing on the team. I mean, I was hooked. How do you not? Yeah. I've been a fan ever since.
I cannot tell you, Gary, how many times my brother and I in our backyard with the basketball hoop mimicked Jerry West's half-court shot.
Oh, yeah.
And they lost that game.
Well, can't
they
have
tied the game, but man, so that was like the worst thing that could have happened for any kid, because all we wanted to do was hit the big, massive game tire or winner. Yeah. And so during practice, the coach is always telling every kid, get closer, fundamentals, get good close to the basket. None of this launching, and it's so funny.
It gets all back to fundamentals, right?
Yes.
There's fundamentals in sales. There's fundamentals in everything you do in life. And if you do just a couple of those things very, very well, you're going to be in great shape. In fact, the story there reminds me, one of the highlights of my life is I had a chance to meet Jerry West and get my picture taken with him. And I didn't wash my hands for a couple days.
Wow, we live parallel lives. My brother went to a basketball camp. It was led by his name. He was there, and they offered the ability for anyone in the place, because it was just the guys that were participating, like my brother and family. So it wasn't a ton of people, but they said, hey, if you want to go meet Jerry and get his autograph. And I'm like, so my mom's literally looking for it. She got this tiny little shred of paper and tore it and gave me a pen. And I'm running because you had to go a distance. And when I finally got to him, he was standing in a doorway. I think he's 6'4", 6'5".
About that, yeah.
But he seemed, I was younger than,
Sure.
I was just young. I'm like, whoa, this guy's giant. You see him on TV, and they're all relatively the same size, so you don't think they're giants, right?
Exactly.
And I was like, wow. And yeah, it was like the same thing. I mean, that little slip of paper was in the safe I had for my entire childhood through my teenage years. I was like, wow, what a great time that was. Yeah. Woo, good memories. So one of the things that I did promise everyone before we start, well, during the show, was we're going to offer a free giveaway. Yeah. Remember that? A 5-night stay at a 5-star luxury resort, compliments of the Big Insider Secrets. In just a moment, I'm going to be sharing with everyone watching live how to win that gift. And right soon around there, maybe before, maybe after, I don't know yet, I'm going to ask this one question of Mr. Howarth. He doesn't know it's coming. That's the beauty of this one. That question is one of the most profound questions I've ever asked in interviewing. And I've been doing this now, Gary, for every show now. I ask this same question to close it. I was just looking at the times like, my God, this flew. I knew it would, because of you. You're an amazing guy, and I'm having a blast. The thing about this question, it's very profound. It can be just a tiny bit personal, but it's so powerful in the responses. I was asking it kind of by accident in the beginning stages of doing this show. This has been over 3 years ago. And I noticed when I did, I'm like, wow, that was interesting. Every answer was so just amazing. Let's put it that way. And so we're going to close the show out with that big boomer of a question. You're going to love it, man. And I'm going to build it up so much. You're going to get so nervous. What the heck is it? And then you're going to go, geez, that was nothing. And it's awesome. So real quick, the prize, the giveaway, everyone watching, write this down and then go to this website URL after the show is over and enter to win. We will be processing all entries for some time after the show. Don't worry about it. You don't have to do it this second. So I implore you, write it down because you don't want to miss Gary's answer. So I'm going to put this up on the screen. And what you want to do is write this down, is go to this URL, this website address. It's ryp.im/vacation, all lowercase again. Again, that's ryp.im/vacation. Again, sponsored by the Big Insider Secrets. That's my buddy, Jason Nash, that runs that company, who has been so wonderful in allowing us to do this each and every week on this show, sometimes more than once a week. Let's bring Gary back on as I clear that screen. And look at that, on cue, smiling ear to ear. You got the pearly whites there and everything going. So, all right, Mr. Howarth. Woo, yes. The beautiful thing about this question is there's no such thing as a wrong answer.
Thank goodness.
The interesting thing is exactly the opposite is true, is the only correct answer is yours.
There you go.
That is the only thing that makes it personal, because it's unique to you. That's it. And so some will take a moment and reflect. Others will have it like that. That also doesn't matter. Either way, if it takes you seconds or even minutes to come up with it, it's perfect because it's your answer. Okay. So now there's zero pressure. And now you're just going, what the heck is this question? I know it. I've had so many people on the show.
So tell you, Brian, get on with it. Yeah,
exactly. The buildup is killing me. I love it. So are you ready, Gary?
I am ready. Yes.
Of course you are. Here we go. Gary Howarth, how do you define success?
I define success by just being happy with where you are. It's just having a certain amount of ease and comfort with your life, when it comes to both, your mind, how you think of things, your health, and then of course with business. And success incorporates all those things, but the other part that it needs to incorporate, of course, is family and friends. And once you have all that, because when I almost died on the table, I about lost all that. And so it's a very, very important part. And when you can live with people who are happy to be around you and want your company, that means you've probably led a successful life.
You know what's coming, don't you? Oh my goodness, Mr. Gary Howarth, thank you so very much for gracing our stage here tonight. You've been amazing, as I knew you would be. You always are amazing. You're an amazing man. I appreciate you to the moon. One last thing, if you can give a budding entrepreneur, someone who's thinking about diving into this weird, horrible, incredibly exciting, awesome, all rolled into one world of being an entrepreneur, if you had, looking back on your life, if you could give them just one piece of advice, just one, what would that be?
Don't try to do it all on your own. There's a lot of people out there willing and able to help you. All you have to do is ask, and make sure that you ask the right people, the people who really have the experience that you may be lacking in an area. That's the number one thing. Trying to do it all yourself and learn it from scratch, it's a long road. And, looking for the right mentors and people to help you will vastly accelerate your success.
Words of wisdom that I so resonate with. Oh my gosh, from all the ones that I shouldn't have chosen to the ones that I loved having. This would be one of them right here, ladies and gentlemen. I'm pointing at Gary Howarth. For those of you looking for a mentor, if he decides to take you on, then do what he tells you to do, because it will just result in success. Don't question it and respect the man. But you can tell he's an easy guy to get along with, until maybe I learned later that he's like one of those taskmasters. Like, no, I can't imagine that. All right. On behalf of the amazing Gary Howarth, I am your host, Brian Kelly of the Mind Body Business Show. That's our show for tonight. We appreciate you all for coming out. Gary, especially you. I appreciate you for spending your valuable time. And
thank you for inviting me, Brian. My pleasure.
It's been amazing. For everyone else, we'll see you again next week. So stay tuned next week and be blessed, everybody. Take care for now. So long. Thank you for tuning in to the Mind Body Business Show podcast at www.themindbodybusinessshow.com. My name is Brian Kelly.